I can say this for the country to know, without fear of contradiction. Most of the young people who are writing hateful messages on social media, most of them are struggling with mental health, which has been caused by abuse of drugs and abuse of alcohol. Sometimes we mtu mkubwa mzima unang'ang'ana, unatafuta hiyo mtu kwa social media, nasema amenitusi only to go and find this is a extremely destroyed young person. Hata atoki nyumba, ako tu nyumba na simu yake, akitusi leo nani, akiona nani ana trend, akiona nini. We are struggling with mental health, which is occasioned by drugs and alcohol.
Bunge, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to PAV. This is Bunge Audiovisual, the place where we get to give you updates not only in Kenya but across the globe as well. So welcome back to another episode. Thank you for the 300 subscribers. Let's keep pushing, and this is the journey to 1,000 subscribers. So today we have a topic that has sparked heated debates online, and this is the recent statement by the Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen, and he claimed that the young people writing hateful messages on social media are struggling with mental health. But instead of sympathy, his words have been met with backlash, and let's unpack why this statement has hit the nerve. So at first, Murkomen claims that mental health struggles are behind the anger we see online, and this is not entirely false, because we know the frustration, hopelessness, and the lack of support can contribute to mental distress. But here's the real issue. What is causing the crisis in the first place? Netizens were quick to point fingers at the government, arguing that unemployment and lack of opportunities are the true culprits to our nation. And one comment that really stood out in that particular case was that there's a guy called Ogobina, he's also a creative, said that it is true, but what causes substance abuse? I wonder anyway. I thought it was idleness due to lack of employment that leads to lack of purpose, which later morphs into resentment and hate. But well, what do I know? Then apart from that, we're also able to see another netizen wrote, abuse of drugs abuse of drug while you abuse our democratic rights. That I think was among the most powerful words that were able to be seen in the comment section. But let's dig deep and get into why this reaction was so intense. So let's talk about the reality on the ground, because we have thousands of young graduates every year eager to contribute to the society, yet we've got we've got very, very scarce job opportunities. And meanwhile, we see political leaders placing their cronies in top government positions, while qualified youths are left stranded. And this leaves many feeling hopeless, and naturally they turn to social media as an outlet for their frustrations. You find a youth hasn't been employed, and so he decides to go and get online, and anatumia time yake buy bundles, then he starts firing shooting his shots, or rather firing towards the government. And I think it's a cycle that has been ongoing over and over since the beginning of since our country got independent, because unemployment usually leads to idleness, as you all know, and idleness at the end of the day breeds frustration. Then frustration moves into anger, and when people feel unheard, they actually lash out online. And some of the questions that people are asking was, should the government be surprised in such a case? Because if you look at the bigger picture, this isn't just about young people venting online. It's about an entire generation struggling to find a future in a country that seems to be working against them. And instead of addressing these core issues like job creation, fair employment opportunities, and mental health support, the government chooses to focus on symptoms rather than the cause. And if you think about it, if young people had access to stable jobs, affordable living, and a government that genuinely cared about their future, would they still have the same level of resentment? Because what if you take a look of what really needs to change, or rather the solution, we usually have a few key things that personally I feel need to be handled. Number one, we need to have what we call the government accountability, because it has reached a point where it has actually reached a point whereby we need to stop blaming symptoms and address the root cause of the frustration. Because the government each and every time usually comes up with issues of talking about the symptoms. Oh, this might be the problem of this, but they don't have the solutions of being able to solve such kind of a problem. Then apart from government accountability, we need to also ensure that we've got job creation programs whereby we focus on industries that can absorb the thousands of young people that are actually seeking for employment. We need to ensure that also the mental health support is in check, so as to recognize that financial stability plays a major role in mental health struggles. And we also need to ensure that the youth are actually included in governance, so that this opportunity gives young people a seat a seat at the table, instead of actually sidelining them and pointing fingers at them and blaming and saying that they are the ones who are actually the problem. So I don't know what I can say about that video, but at the end of the day, one thing I know is that blaming young people for their frustrations won't, without even taking responsibility, is a very, very lazy excuse by the government. And the government has to do better. And as citizens, we must continue holding them accountable. So I don't know, what do you think, guys? Do you think that are the netizens right in their backlash, or is Murkomen making a valid point? Because I want us to continue the conversation in the comment section below. I do not discuss much about it, but for me, I'll say that the government needs to create a conducive environment to ensure that most of the youths are actually operating in an environment that propels them towards their future dreams, or rather their ambitions in life. Because if you have a nation that whereby everybody's mind is preoccupied in achieving the best out of him or herself, it means that as a country you've got a sense of direction, and a country with a sense of direction is actually a country that will thrive economically, a country that will thrive in terms of matters concerning peace, and a country that is actually going to thrive in many other good aspects in life. So for me, I'll say that the government needs to up its game, and at least instead of pointing fingers at the youth, it needs to say, okay, this is the time that I think it's reached a time whereby we need to listen to our youths, because our youths are the ones who are actually going to drive a country towards the next level, since they are the future generation. Just the same way Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja made his statement yesterday. He said that the reason as to why most of the youths are going through whatever they are going right now, they're going through whatever they're going through right now, is because of this, of us, the political class, and that the political class are the guys who are the problem of this. So after acknowledging that they were the root cause of bitter of the youth being bitter, it really showed that they actually admit that at some point they have failed to deliver, and that they are going to try as much as they can to listen to the people and ensure that their interests are placed at heart. Yeah, so that's it for today. I don't know. For me, I'll just say that if you'd like to give your sentiments or other your opinions, comment section iko hapo chini, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Until next time, stay informed and stay vocal.